welcome to an exciting episode of Tuffy Talk, which, I mean, I do gotta say, I think I say that every single time, but I think this one in particular has a little bit more bling to this episode with a national championship ringing in these people's eyes that we have guest starring here with us. Got Coach Harold Trammel, Jordan Zunic, and then Trevor Henderson, Jordan and Trevor being team captains for the cheer squad. Then Coach Harold Trammel, who I think needs no introduction, and for any State fan who doesn't know who this man is, then I highly suggest that you learn fairly quickly because he's been kind of killing it for his state for quite some time. So, Coach, Trevor, Jordan, thank you all again for joining us. Really appreciate you being on.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So, I figure we kind of maybe get started as kind of, obviously, Coach, there may be a couple of people who watch this that maybe don't know who you are. And then obviously Jordan and Trevor, obviously the cheer team is huge. So, probably a lot of people don't necessarily know who every single person is. So we definitely kind of, I think maybe want to start off with some introductions. But Coach, I'll kind of do a little bit of introduction for you, and then you can kind of fill in the gaps from there. But, being from Wilmington, North Carolina, and also too from Laney High School, the same school as Michael Jordan. So, I mean, are you kind of proud of that? Or are you like, Tar Heel, like not necessarily crazy about that? What's your, like when somebody brings that up, what's your kind of take on that?
That's it. It's an easy one to recognize. Everybody knows Michael Jordan. So knowing that you came from his high school, it's immediate correlation. Obviously we don't like the color that he went to, but definitely recognizable. He came back a couple times when I was in high school, unannounced assemblies, and came and talked to the students. We actually had cheer practice while they were doing basketball practice. He stayed around and played basketball with the guys, so it was pretty neat.
Oh, cool. Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Even for Greg and I being diehard State fans as we are, I mean, I'm sure if Michael Jordan came across, I mean, you couldn't.
Yeah, you respect it.
Get a little bit excited for sure. Yeah, no, absolutely. And then obviously you cheered at NC State for all 4 years, and you actually won. And per Alex, per our insight within NC State cheerleading, you're actually one of the very few cheerleaders to cheer on the varsity squad for all 4 years. So, hats off to you for that. Kudos there. And then I know we just celebrated your 20th year being the head coach of this program, leading this team to four team titles, 2 group stunt titles, and 2 mascot titles, and also to having the highest graduation rate in the program, and also has 2 teams that have earned the highest 2 GPAs in program history. So, I mean, quite a resume there, Coach. But anything else you would add to that I didn't mention there?
I think you covered most of it. Cool. Just proud of having the opportunity to go to a school with the type of program that NC State was when I got here, and had the opportunities to cheer and compete for the pack. Actually, I was on the team for 5 years, so I took 5 years to finish school. So I was here for a total of 5 years. It was all on red team, which was a more experienced team when I started out. So, but yeah, I think you covered all the highlights. It's been a great opportunity to be part of the pack for so long. It's I've been at State longer than I've been anywhere else.
Ahead,
so,
Greg.
Coach, you just mentioned the red team. Can you just talk about, I didn't know there was a red team or a such thing. Can you just kind of talk about the different teams that you have there then?
Yeah, so the structure of the teams when I was at State are a little bit different than the way we have things set up now. So when I was cheering, red team was our more advanced team. That was the team that we pulled athletes from to compete at UCA College Nationals. Our white team was our less experienced team. They didn't compete, but they performed a halftime routine each season, and it was kind of normal for people to come in, spend a year or 2, maybe 3 on white team, and then their last year or 2 moved to red team. But I was fortunate when I came in, and I had a pretty solid background from cheering in high school and doing all-stars at the time, and the coach gave me the opportunity to be on red team as a freshman.
Gotcha.
Awesome.
Now the setup's a little bit different. We have 2 teams now that are competing, so we're competing in 2 different divisions, which allows us to compete more athletes. And we compete in large co-ed, and we compete in small co-ed. Small co-ed is the division that we won this year.
Absolutely, but again, we'll definitely give some shout out to Large Co-Ed too, and the other teams as well that competed. Here later in the episode for sure. But I gotta
Sounds good.
jump on over to my man Trevor here, who I gotta say, I graduated with a chemical engineering degree, and once I got filled in the year at aerospace engineer, I was like, holy smokes! Like, there's somebody that's on the cheer staff, cheer team that can also like study to be an aerospace engineer. That's crazy. Like, I couldn't imagine like as much studying as I had to do, and then much less having to do all the practicing and going to games and everything that's included with it that we learned about when we had Camille Weiss on the show even too. So hats off to you there, Trevor, first of all. But anything you kind of add a background about yourself?
Yeah, so I am in an aerospace major. The key with that is just time management, staying ahead of my studies and taking as much time as I can outside of cheer on weekends and just transitioning with that. But a little about my background. I'm from right outside of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, right in Conshohocken area. I did all-star cheer up there. That's like club cheer where we travel to different competitions all over the country. And then that's where I really got my background in cheer. And then when looking to go to college, I knew I wanted to do aerospace engineering, so that's what caught my eye to state. And then I found out their amazing cheer program, and thankfully I was able to make the team and get a national championship where I am now.
That's awesome. Right. Now you wait for that hardware, right?
Yeah.
That ring, absolutely. And then Jordan, moving on to you, one thing which Alex made perfectly clear to me, which I'm going to go ahead and say it for you because he even said that you wouldn't even say it, is that apparently you're very well known. Apparently within the cheerleading programs nationally, you're a very well known cheerleader. So I obviously we're lucky to have you for sure, and I'm sure it's. First of all, I can't say enough how much I applaud, that I could argue that cheerleading is arguably one of the most team-dependent sports out there. Watching the routines, like there is the definition, because, not only with, football, you have to rely on others, just to make a play, but you have to rely on others within cheerleading just to make sure you don't fall over, and to make sure that you all, look good and, are killing it like you did this past weekend for sure. So, but again, obviously, got to give a hats off to you, and glad to have you here at NC State for sure. But Jordan, go ahead, and I'll hand over to you for your introductions as well.
No, again, thanks for having us. So I'm from Raleigh, North Carolina, and I actually cheered at Cheer Extreme, which is an all-star gym, and I won 2 world titles there. And I think that's where Alex is coming from when he said that.
I mean, national championships are nice, but I feel like world's a little bit bigger, right? That's pretty cool.
It was an awesome experience, but
where do you go for that? Like, do you actually travel out of the country for that, or was everything here in the U.S.?
That was in Orlando.
Okay, gotcha.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I was so I have an all-star background, and then since I'm from Raleigh, I've always been a huge NC State fan. I think I've always wanted to come here. And so when I got in, Coach Carroll gave me the amazing opportunity to be on the team, and now we have a national titles, which is awesome.
Hey, but hold on, Coach. I think it's kind of a no-brainer, right? You got someone with 2 world championships coming in under her belt. I think you're going to give her a thumbs up for the team. Is that a true statement?
Everybody has to try out for the team, but she definitely stood out.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. So go get there, Coach. Go ahead.
Hey, Trevor, you were talking about time management, and I'm just kind of curious because folks don't understand the level of effort that it takes to be on the cheer squad. So just kind of walk us through. Obviously you go to class and you have all that, but just kind of walk us through a typical day. If it's a game week or whatever, however you want to approach that. But I'm really curious, either one of you.
So time management wise, thankfully I have a pretty relaxed schedule this semester, but normally it's like wake up, eat a breakfast. This semester I have classes that start at 1:30 in the afternoon, so I'll wake up, eat breakfast, study, work on homework, then transition my way to class. Then after that, I'll either head to lifts or go home right before practice and study a little bit more. And then after that, I'll head to practice, and practice is 3 hours, and then lifts are an hour before that when we have those. So it's looking at like 4 hours of cheer activities. We lift twice a week, and then we practice 3 times a week. So that is a big time commitment in the afternoons and evenings. And then after practice, I'll study for a little bit more, knock out a little bit more homework, and then hopefully be in bed by midnight.
That's awesome.
Got it.
Wow. That's unbelievable. Hats off to you, Trevor. And
Thank
then,
you.
Jordan, one thing which I wanted to say to you as well is that another tidbit that Alex gave you too, and correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't you have a sister that competed for state in 2018 and won a national title too?
Yep, she was on the 2018 game day team, and she won.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Wow. Yeah. So I'm sure, you know, that probably his sister was like, hey, now you got to go get you your own. I have mine. You got to go get yours, right?
Yeah, she actually came to Daytona, so I think maybe she was our good luck charm this year.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that. I love it 100%. Now, biggest thing, you know, Coach, which I was, you know, definitely kind of blown back by for sure is, you know, when I was really learning about how the cheer program started, you know, in terms of, you know, being one of only 5 squads that originally started the college cheerleading scene, and then how the biggest thing that state seems to be well known for is the wolf wall that's been, you know, talked about on movies such as Bring It On and shows like Lee. So I've been told to ask, do you still do the infamous wolf wall? And then can you kind of give fans a little bit of insight in terms of what the wolf wall is?
Yeah, the wolf wall is a signature pyramid for NC State, and it's one that Kathy Bucky, when she was at State as head coach, she invented with her team, and it's a pyramid where you have four bases on the bottom, and then you have 4 girls on top of them. Actually, sorry, 3 girls on top of them, and then there's 2 girls that basically form the ears on top of it. What typically makes the wolf wall special is the timing and the technique required to get the whole thing to go ground up to the top. It's all timing, and a lot of teams just struggle with the discipline of making sure all the pieces are moving at the right time. But NC State has made that pyramid a signature of ours. I think one of the coolest versions of it was the layback wolf wall, where we grounded up, and then at competition in 2001 they decided to lay it back and totally caught everybody off guard. Everybody thought it was falling. In day 1, it actually did fall. It didn't come back up the way we wanted, but in day 2, when it fell back and popped right back up, was just crowd loved it. They went nuts. So,
all right, I got to find some video clip on that. That sounds pretty awesome.
Yeah, just search for NC State Cheer 2001 NCAA Nationals. You'll find it there. We did actually work on wolf wall this year as a pyramid that we introduced the team to. Just a traditional ground up wolf wall, and it teaches discipline because everybody has to do things at the right time. And I think that's the cool thing about pyramids in general is that's one part in a routine where all 20 people have to work together for one structure to go up the right way. So,
I mean, I can make an argument that from everything I saw, dress rehearsals and videos back, that most everything you guys do routine-wise has a lot of discipline to it, because like it's crazy, to say the least. But yeah, no, I 100% hear what you're saying, Coach. But so I wanted to kind of move into kind of talking about you know, the different teams that competed, you know, in nationals, talking about the dress rehearsal, things like that, which was mind-blowing for me, first of all, because I mean, I remember my wife and I, so we came from the state baseball game against Louisville, and we were heading over, and we saw the crowds waiting to get into Reynolds, and we were like, because my wife and I was like, should we get there early? And I was like, you know, to get a good seat. I'm like, I mean, I wouldn't think so, but I mean, if we should have, then hey, hats off to them for sure. And we showed them, we're like, wow, like, you know, there's a lot of people here. And then we walked into Reynolds, and the whole one side was just filled from top to bottom. We were like, holy smokes, like, look, what a turnout. This is crazy, and this is just for a dress rehearsal. And so, I mean, has that grown over the years, like the support, or is that, I mean, Has it always been that way? And just myself and maybe others just didn't know about it. Like it was unbelievable to see the support and the amount of people that were there.
Yeah, we got a fantastic crowd this year. We usually have a pretty decent sized crowd. I would say it was larger this year than it has been for most. But we have a great following of fans that appreciate cheer and support cheer, and some people that will just get kind of drugged by other people to come out and watch what we're doing. It's
They
really
still
neat.
count, right, Coach?
Yeah, they still count. They all count. It's awesome for our teams to have an opportunity to perform in front of a crowd that's there for the sole purpose of watching them. So at other athletic events throughout the entire season, we're supporting our other athletic teams, and they're amazing. It's awesome. We love just being part of the atmosphere and creating atmosphere. That makes our environment awesome as far as loud and just energetic but just the opportunity for throughout the season, we start with football and we do some volleyball and wrestling and basketball and gymnastics. But at the end of the season, we have an opportunity to be in front of fans that are just there for us. I think it is special because it feels different, because normally we're the ones trying to create the excitement and the energy. And when we have fans there that are giving the energy back to us, it's really cool.
We did have a follower. One of our followers wanted to ask this question, so we wanted to make sure we got it in on the episode. But when the, like, for instance, the basketball teams, the women's team and the men's team are both in the tournament, how do you guys determine which cheer squad members go to which location? Is that like a volunteer? Is that a voluntold? How does that work?
We will select. Yeah. So from a coaching perspective, we treat travel as an opportunity. It's a neat experience. You're going to places. The university's paying for you to be there. You're obviously cheering on a national stage for our program, but also just the days that we're there, we're also able to do some pretty cool and a lot of fun things. So we always treat travel as a privilege. So we're selecting who we think deserved the opportunity to travel to those games. So,
and then conversely, a little follow up for Jordan. Sorry. What was that? I'm sorry.
Before we continue, I want to take a quick second to tell you about our sponsor, Flightland's Jessup Insurance Group, that has your whole world covered, with agents in 5 offices throughout eastern North Carolina to help you decide how much coverage you need, offering policies for home and auto, recreational vehicles, commercial, crop, health, life, and employee benefits. They are able to combine options to find a comprehensive solution that works for you. Flightland's Jessup protects the things you love so you can spend less time worrying and more time enjoying them. Find them on Facebook and Instagram at Flightland's Jessup. You can also visit their webpage at www.flightlandsjessup.com. So please make sure to go and check them out.
I was just going to ask them if they wanted to talk about some of the opportunities they've had to travel.
That's exactly my next question, Coach Depp.
Yeah, recently me and Trevor both got the opportunity to travel for the women's basketball tournament, and we went to Salt Lake City, Utah, and that was probably the most fun trip I've had for cheer so far. It was so much. We got to go to a hot spring. We hiked up the mountain, which was beautiful. I've never seen mountains like that before, and it was just so insane. It was a crazy experience.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was so surreal seeing like mountains that big, especially being from the East Coast. There's nothing in comparison. Yeah. And then being able to support the Wolfpack over in Utah and like seeing just random NC State fans like all over the place. It's an interesting experience because like you think North Carolina State, that's just in Raleigh, and then you show up into a different state that you've never been in, and there's red all over the place.
Yeah, I just want to share just a really quick story. Like, you know, we're definitely known for our wolf ears, right? Given the Wolfies, right? And this was about 10 years ago. I was walking in London, and I had an NC State gear on, and someone from NC State threw up the Wolves, and I was like, "Let's go!" Like, you know. So yeah, to your point, it's just I love that State has a universal symbol, and that the cheer squad actually invented that. So like that's just a really cool. I love having something unique for our school. So.
Absolutely. And I'm sure maybe a lot of people as well. I want to go and kind of put this caveat, out there, just make it clear that if you have any questions or thoughts right now that you're wanting us to talk about the recruiting side or things like that, highly recommend going and checking out our interview with Camille, where we definitely go more and more into that. But just there's no way we're going to be able to cover that on top of everything else that we're trying to cover here. So just putting that caveat out there. But so Trevor and Jordan, I want to ask you. I think that from a perspective of the fans, it makes 100% sense about the dress rehearsal, just to kind of see what you all are doing in Daytona. Watch you all compete for sure. So I'm sure that's definitely a big angle to it. But I'm sure the other angle is just like the word dress rehearsal, to give you guys an opportunity to do your routines in front of a crowd that I'm sure you haven't had a chance to do yet. And so, kind of give me your thoughts in terms of what did that do for you in terms of preparation-wise, for maybe you personally? And Trevor, I'll probably start with you, and then Jordan, you can follow right after. But what was your biggest takeaway from the dress rehearsal?
From the dress rehearsal, I think the biggest takeaway for me was being able to project my feelings to the crowd, like showing that I'm confident, showing them that I know how to do these skills, and having them reciprocate that back to me. Like, I show them that I can do this, and then I feel their energy come back with them screaming and cheering.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Jordan?
Like you guys said, there's so many people there, so that aspect is really cool because we don't get to showcase all of the skills we can actually do throughout the season through basketball or football, and just having everyone we know and love there meant so much to all of us. And instead of just showcasing our routine at practices, we get to actually be in front of a crowd and get that response from them to actually understand how well we are doing.
100%. Love it. Yeah, no, and first of all, I definitely want to give a shout out for sure that it definitely blew my wife and I away. I remember my wife 2 different times during a dance routine and during probably the large co-ed, she looked at me with big eyes did you see that? I was like, it was unbelievable to say the least. And obviously winning a national championship in small co-ed, getting 7th place in large co-ed definitely, I think, speaks volumes about that. But I want to kind of end this first part by asking a question from a curiosity perspective, is that obviously NC State has to be out there as one of the big programs, cheerleading programs in the country, obviously being one of the original 5, winning multiple national titles. Who are some of the other big guns, out there that, are up there with the elite programs of college cheerleading? And
Trevor, Jordan, you want to take that one?
Yeah, go ahead, Jordan.
I think Weber State is really good. Their large co-ed is really good. And then I like Texas Tech. Particularly, these 2 programs are really collegiate, and I think that's what sticks out to me the most.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and then Coach, any others as well?
Other teams that tend to be traditionally competitive at NCAA nationals, you have to say Oklahoma State. They're a really solid collegiate program as well. Louisville, they have a strong all-girl, small co-ed and large co-ed program. They're one of the larger programs. Them being in the conference, we see each other a lot. I would say that those are the traditional ones that you find at NCAA college nationals. There's some junior colleges that are also really competitive. Trinity Valley and Navarro also have extremely talented athletes that will be cheering for them.
Interesting.
So, Coach, I just have this question because we interview a lot of club sports as well, and obviously you guys are fully affiliated with the school. All your travel when you go to these competitions, is it fully funded by the school, or do you rely on any kind of donations or support from the fan base?
We're super fortunate that we do follow our athletics, and athletics does take care of our competition costs.
Gotcha.
All of our travel expenses, those types of things, whether it's going to college nationals or the preseason competition we go to in the summer, all those things are taken care of by so we're definitely fortunate from that perspective.
Gotcha.
Great to hear that. Awesome. All right, folks, so with that being said, we're going to pause right there. But in part 2, we're going to pick up kind of talking about the different teams that went to nationals, how they fared, breaking it down a little bit more. And so to make sure you don't miss out on that, make sure you hit that subscribe button, notification bell, so you're notified whenever we release any new NC State content. If you enjoyed this conversation, hit that like button and give us a follow. Tuffy Talk Now on Twitter, Instagram. If you want to keep in touch with NC State Cheerleading, I highly recommend checking them out on Twitter and Instagram and following them there for sure, and so that we can stay up with all their awesome content and what they're doing. And hey, you may even see Jordan and Trevor, who, if I'm not mistaken, are going to be back next year. Am I correct with that, Jordan and Trevor?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
All right, let's go. All right, cool deal. Glad to hear that. All right, so with that being said, we'll see y'all for part 2 as always. Go Pack, y'all.